So in high school, as students, we all have our a teacher or a staff member, someone of the faculty that we find or that we gravitate to towards more than anybody else for various reasons, either because they're cool, they're relatable, they have similar upbringings, they're easy to talk to. Okay. That's true in any high school that you attend, right? This story time takes place at my high school in the year of 1999. All right. I was a senior in high school this particular year. Now, during this particular year in my high school, as I said, I was a senior. This was the year where a lot of things needed to take place in order for me to progress outwardly into the world in a manner that I intended to. This is the year where a lot of students are trying to get their best scores on their SATs and they're applying to all these different colleges that they want to attend to. They're kind of keep their grades as high as they possibly can keep their grades so they have a higher GPA and they have a better chance of acceptance into the college that they want to go to. Okay. Not me. Unfortunately for me, I spent my senior year of high school kind of fucking around simply because I was getting bored. Like I always had good grades in school. Like I came from a middle school where I was a part of the magnet program. I was taking advanced classes, and this stuff was it was easy to me. Okay. I mean, maybe it was a little challenging in the beginning, but it was easy. And it was so easy that when I got to high school, it just became bored. By my senior year, I had already earned enough credits to graduate. There was really no reason for me to even attend high school during my senior year, to be honest with you. With that being said, my grades, which went from A's and B's, dropped into the C range. Okay, majority of my grades were in the C range, and now I very much looked like an average student, despite how intelligent I was. All right. Due to that, college was really not. It was not an option. All right. But for those of you who are not new here on the channel, those of you who have viewed my videos before, you've watched one of my most recent videos entitled The Sad Truth of How I Learned to Become a Great Dad. You know that my mother and I did not have a good relationship, and I was raised by a single mother. Okay. I explained the reasons why in that video. I won't spend any time discussing it here. If you're curious, you have to go watch that particular video. All right. Now, my mother, being a single black woman, was very adamant. When you turn 18, you getting your ass out my house. I don't care where you go. I've done my job. As soon as you turn 18 and you graduate from high school, you're going to have to figure out where you need to go. I don't care where it is, but you're not going to live here. And I'm just like, where the hell I'm going to go at 18 years old? You know what I mean? Like, just graduating from high school at that. Clearly, I ain't going to have no job as soon as I graduate from high school. So where the hell am I going to go at 18 years old is all I'm thinking. Parents out there, stop doing this shit to your children too. Okay. Times are different. All right. At 18 years old, you should not be throwing your child out of the house unless your child is an absolute problem to deal with in the home. If they're not, don't throw your kids out of the house. You're setting them up for failure. It takes a very specific type of person, somebody who has a very strong will and mental and physical fortitude to be able to leave the home at 18 years old and never look back. Okay. So yeah, if you're a parent and you have teenage children who are in high school now about to graduate, don't be so quick to throw your children out. That leads them that, I mean, if they're not set up properly, they can end up getting involved into a whole lot of different shit that could cut their life short, or they may end up incarcerated. And ultimately, while the decision to do one or the other may have been theirs, it's ultimately your fault for putting them in a position to have to make one of those two decisions. So don't throw your children out of the house at 18. That it's just not, it's not it no more. Okay. But I digress. My mother was adamant that I had to leave, and I didn't have a clue on where the hell I was going to be going at the age of 18 after I graduated from high school. In my high school, there was one particular person, staff, faculty, that I felt like I could talk to. And most students in the school thought that this particular faculty was, this particular staff member was incredibly cool because he was relatable. For me, It was our peer mediator slash guidance counselor. His name is Mr. Boatman. Okay. Mr. Boatman, as I previously mentioned, was the peer mediator and guidance counselor. So he's the person in the school that you would go to if you're having problems at home and you can't talk to your parents about them. If you're having problems with another student in the school, and he's there to kind of resolve those issues. If you're having problems with a teacher or anybody, if you're having problems with any aspect of your life, he's the person that you could talk to about it. Okay, like I said, his job was the peer mediator slash guidance counselor. Okay, incredibly cool dude. um I think most of the students in the school enjoyed him because he was, like I said, relatable. What he would do is he was also kind of like a part-time photographer, if that makes sense. He if there was any event that was taking place at the school, whether it be a prom, a school dance, a pep rally, anything that was taking place in the school, he was going to be there. Not that he was being paid to be there. He was going to be there with his camera equipment, and he was going to be taking pictures, developing those pictures into 5x7s. And then what he would do is he would sell those pictures to the students. Now, you got to remember, in 1999, this predates smartphones. So people were not walking around with iPhones and Samsungs and whatever the name of those other Samsung phones are. People weren't walking around with those where they could just point and click a picture of themselves. All right. Oftentimes, you would get dressed up in a really nice outfit, and people would only notice it for that particular day. Okay, this was during the time of Polaroids, um, Kodak cameras that have a certain number of exposures. You take them and then you go get them developed. Okay, that was the era that we were in, but not with Mr. Boatman. Mr. Boatman had his camera equipment. He was going to be at the pep rally, the prom, the school dance, and every activity that took place at the school with his camera. And he was going to be flashing pictures of random people around the school. He was going to be catching all of these different moments. And as a child, as a teenager, particularly when you're starting to feel yourself, you really, really admire having uh photographs of yourself wearing a nice outfit. Okay, that was something that was priceless, and he exploited that by taking pictures, developing them, and then he would sell you the 5x7 of said picture. I think he would sell it for like $5, $3, $5. Maybe he'll sell you a couple of them for a bundle. Like maybe he'd give you three of them for $10 or so. I can't remember the prices. This was so long ago, but that was one of his little side hustles, right? And like I said, students loved that particular aspect of him, and they loved him for that reason. It's one of the reasons why the students hung out around him so much. You got that picture? I want to buy this picture. Let me see that picture. Oh, that joint tight. Let me get that picture right there. I'm gonna put this joint in my lock. I'm gonna get this joint to my girlfriend. I'm gonna give it to my boyfriend. Something like that. That was one of his hustles. Okay, so um, during this particular time that I'm having these difficulties at home with my particular parent about where the hell you gonna go at the age of 18, the first thing that came to my mind is I got to go talk to Mr. Boatman, and I got to go figure out what the fuck it is that I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? This is a difficult time for me. He's going to know and have some real life suggestions for me. Okay. So while I'm in school one day, it gets to be a particular class. Like I said, I'm fucking around in school again. It gets to be a particular class that I didn't feel like attending. Okay, and it was a class that I didn't need the credits for it, and I was already ahead. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna skip this class, and I'm gonna go talk to Mr. Boatman about what's going on. So I go to his office. It's located on the second floor. Um, Now he doesn't have anybody in his particular class during this day, in his class, in his office. He's not mediating or speaking to any other student at this present time, so it's perfect. So as I knock on the door, he opens. He's like, "Hey, Rehan, what's going on, man? What's up with you?" And I'm like, "Man, not a whole lot. I just got to rap to you right quick, man. I got some shit going on, and I kind of need a little bit of direction, man, because I'm not entirely sure what it is that I need to do." He's like, "Yeah. Come on in, man. What's happening with you?" And I'm like, "Look, so I'm 18 years old now. This is my senior year in high school." He's like, "Yeah, I know you about to get up out of here. Okay, what's the issue?" I'm like, "So my mother is adamant that as soon as I graduate, which is what, in 2 months, as soon as I graduate, I got to get the hell up out this house. I got to find somewhere to go, somewhere to live, something else to do. Her job is done, and all of this mess, right? And I don't have a clue of what it is that I'm gonna do." So he's like, damn, man, yeah, that's kind of like a it's unfortunate to hear that. I mean, I know parents do that kind of stuff. I never quite understood it myself. He's like, "What you think about doing?" I'm like, "Man, I don't know, but I got to come up with something, man. I got to come up with something. You know, I'm really into acting and I'm into modeling at the same time." And he was kind of like, I mean, you could probably get away with modeling. I don't know if you can do too much acting. You know, you kind of quiet, you kind of keep to yourself. You know, people who are actors, they you know generally have a lot more personality, you know, than you show or than you have, or at least that you show here in the school. But modeling, you know, you about the right height, about the right build. You kind of got, you know, somewhat of that look. Maybe you can look into that. He was like, I tell you what, I'm about to head out right now. He was like, why don't you come back past my office a little bit towards the end of the day, and we can talk a little bit more about this. And I might have some other suggestions for things that you can do if this is really a pressing issue. Then I'm like, all right, bet. So after I leave his office, I only have well now it's lunchtime. I have two classes, two more periods before the end of the school day. One of them was my junior ROTC class. Okay, JROTC. All right. The teacher was his name was Mr. Butts. He was this old Caucasian guy, probably like in his, if I had to guess, late 50s, early 60s. Very anal, very irritating kind of person to deal with. I just thought it was because he was old. It could be because he was old and because he was military. I really don't know. But in that particular class, and I was taking that class simply because um, I don't know. I guess because I thought it was easy. I thought it would be cool to be able to wear the uniforms that they issue. This was Air Force ROTC, by the way. So I thought that was going to be cool. I go to ROTC class, and on this particular day, lo and behold, to me, the teacher of the class, Sergeant Butts, he has a military recruiter coming to the class to talk to the class about the military, what it's like, what the recruitment process is, all of these different things, right? And I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is interesting right here, because this is the type of stuff I like, useful information, right? So the military recruiter comes in, Sergeant Butts, he sits at his desk and he allows the military recruiter to pretty much run the class. Recruiter stands at the front of the class. It's probably about 20 of us in there, maybe somewhere between 17 and 20 of us in the classroom. And the recruiter starts talking about what the military is, what type of things it can do, what things it can offer you in life. And this starts piquing my interest again, because my back is now against the wall. I got 2 months before I graduate. I don't have a job lined up or as soon as I graduate. I'm not going to college, so I'm like, well, what the hell am I? What am I going to do? This might be perfect right here. So as the recruiter is talking, he gets to a point where he starts taking questions. Now, out of everybody that he was asking questions to, which was the entire classroom, there was only like maybe me and maybe one other person that were actively engaging him. Nobody else seemed to care what this guy was talking about, because their mind was made up. They ain't joining the military. I'm assuming that's what they were thinking. And to my knowledge, none of them did. But I'm asking questions. So, how long is the recruitment process? How much does it pay? Um, how do you know where your duty station is going to be at? And you know, he's explaining to me, well, the sign up process, you just got to take an ASVAB test. You need to figure out, if you score high enough, what particular branches you qualify for. If you want to go in the Air Force, you have to score a 44 on the ASVAB test. At that time, that may have changed. And he's like, once you pass the ASVAB test, not only does that determine what branches you're able to go into based on your score, but it also lets us know what career fields you'll qualify for based on your score in each different section of the test. You'll pick a career field that falls within the ones that are available to you based on your scores. And once you pick that particular career field, we send you to MEPS. Once you go to MEPS will do a medical inspection of you. They'll make sure that you're not colorblind, that you're not deaf, that you don't have asthma, and all these different other things that will disqualify you from military service. And then once you pass MEPS, you go off to basic training. You do 6 weeks of basic training while they're in processing you into the military at the same time. And then once you complete basic training, you'll go to your tech school. Now, once you go to your tech school, that's where you're going to be taught on a Monday through Friday basis. You're going to be taught your actual career field, whatever it is, whatever job it is that you chose, they're going to be teaching it to you at your tech school. and you have to pass that class in order to graduate tech school and go on to your duty station. Once you get to your duty station, you'll be paid on the 1st and the 15th. And your pay is dependent on your rank, and it's also dependent on whether you live on base or not. And he started breaking down all of these things, and I'm just like, this definitely sounds like something that I can do, right? I'm actually now starting to form a plan in my mind. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I got 2 months before I need to get the hell up out my mom's house. She probably, and if I don't have a plan, she might fuck around and throw me out. Like I said, we don't have the best relationship. She might fuck around and throw me out this house. So I'm like, this military thing actually sounds kind of good. And then the recruiter was like, and as an added bonus, like I just told you guys, your pay is determined by your rank. Now, I don't know if you guys know that, but if you're in this class right here, if you've taken this class for 2 or I think 3 years of junior ROTC at the time of your enlistment, or you complete 3 years worth of junior ROTC at the time of your enlistment, you will go in with 2 additional ranks. So instead of going in as an E1, you will go in as an E3. And I'm like, this is actually my 3rd year of junior ROTC, which means by the time I graduate, this will be complete and I'll get to skip up 3 ranks, which means more money for me. So I'm like, man, you know what? Decision made, because I ain't got nothing else to do. I know college is really not an option right now because of my scores. I'm not my scores, but because of my grades and my GPA. So I'm like, okay, the military is what it is. That's actually what I'm going to do. So towards the end of the day, I go back up to Mr. Boatman's office, right? At the designated time that he wanted to speak, I go back up to his office. Again, he's not busy because it's the end of the school day. Nobody want to talk to him at the end of the day. They trying to get the fuck out of there. They want to get to their lockers, get to their buses. They want to get gone. You know what I mean? So I got a little bit of time to talk because I didn't live that far from the high school. So even if I missed my bus, walking gave me time to think and get clarity on the decisions that I was making. Moving forward. So I go talk to Mr. Bowman, and he like, all right, so here's one of the things that I was able to figure out. I'm like, man, listen, check this out. Before you even say anything, I done already figured out what I'm gonna do, bro. And he's like, really, that quick? What you gonna do? And I was like, man, I think I'm gonna go in the military. And he was like, for real? The military? I was like, is that a bad idea? He's like, it's not bad. I mean, you definitely can make a career out of the military, and it can be, rewarding. You get to travel, you get to be around different cultures, you get to meet new people. I mean, I didn't go in the military myself, but I do know, quite a few brothers who did. So it might be something that work out for you. I mean, you do kind of have that kind of reserve, keep to yourself demeanor that most of the military people have. That might actually be, it might be a good decision for you, man. And I was like, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do, man. It was ironic because when I went down to my class after I left from talking to you, a military recruiter came into the classroom and was talking to us about the military and how I could benefit from it. And that's what kind of helped me shape the decision. And after all, I only got 2 months to make the decision before I might be thrown out and don't know where the fuck I'm gonna go or how the fuck I'm gonna eat or nothing like that. Then he was like, yeah, he's like, I can understand how you arrived at that decision. If you feel like that's what you got to do, man, best of luck to you, man. Because I definitely think you can have success at that joint. Then I was like, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So fast forward a few months. All right, 2 months forward. I graduated from high school, and after I graduated from high school, which was in June of 1999, in July of 1999, not even a full month after I graduated from high school, I found myself at the military recruiter's office, and he's taking me and a couple other guys that are new recruits to MEPS. We went out to the one in, I believe it was in Laurel, Maryland. We end up going out to that one. And at MEPS, like I told you, MEPS, it's a mass event. There's a lot of people in MEPS. Okay, there's people from all over the state. Some people that are from different states that are, this is their closest facility. There's hundreds of people being processed in MEPS every day so that they can weed out who is fit and who isn't fit. All right. So during MEPS, they're checking your vitals. They want to check your blood pressure, your blood oxygen. They want to check your height. They want to check your weight. They want to make sure you can do a certain number of push-ups. I can't remember all the things, right? But I knew that this was my option, but I kind of was having doubts about it. Okay, because again, I was going to be away from everything that I was familiar with and in unfamiliar territory. Okay. So I was kind of having a little bit of doubts. So I remember at one point, I'm like, man, I'm probably not going to make it. It was going to be at some point of this MEPS thing that I'm not going to make it through. I'm going to fail something. I already know it. So they checked me for hearing. My hearing came back good. Okay. They checked me for color blindness, some little thing where you got to look at a shape with numbers or letters in it, and you got to be able to see to tell them what number or letter it is you see to determine if you're colorblind. Past that, and it got to a stage where one of the military doctors, he came up to me. He was like, okay, young man, I need you to stand right here. I need you to stand straight up. Okay, all right. And he leaned down and he put his finger like in between at the bottom of my foot on the inside of the bottom of my foot and swiped it back and forth. And I'm like, the fuck? You know what I mean? So he was like, it's kind of close. Let me do this again. Did it a second time. Then he looked to another doctor and he's like, hey Mike, come here. Come here. I need you to take a look at something for me. And I'm like, this is it. This is it right here. This is the thing right here. If he's having doubts, if he got to call somebody else, he's having doubts. This is the thing. So the other doctor, Mike, ends up coming over. He's like, yeah, can you check him out? I'm having a hard time making a decision with this thing right here. So Mike is like, sure. Mike leans down. He does the same thing, runs his two fingers along the inside of the soles of my feet. And or I say the inside of the soles, but you know what I mean, the inside close to the soles. And he's like, yeah, not quite, but close. Not quite, but you're very close. So we would have had to disqualify you if you had flat feet. You don't have flat feet. You're really close, but not close enough. You know, you just made it. So congratulations to you. And I'm like, shit. You know what I mean? I was hoping that he was gonna be like, oh, that's it, you can't do that. But nah, I passed. And yeah, at the end of MEPS, you end up going into a room. You end up raising your right hand in front of the American flag, and you end up swearing in. You end up doing your oath, uphold and defend the Constitution and all of that stuff. I really don't remember how it goes, but you end up doing that. And then once that's done, it's official. You in there. After that, your recruiter, he gets you onto a plane and you're going to your basic training. Okay. And that's the beginning of your military career. Now, I'm not going to discuss my military career in this particular video because I did a video on this channel. I believe it was the second or third video that I uploaded on this channel. It's entitled Why Black Men Should Not Go into the Military. So if you're curious about the experience that I had in the military, you want to watch that video if you haven't already done so. Okay. So fast forward, I'm done with the military. 4 years later, I'm done. I'm on my way home. Right now, I get home. Clearly, I don't have a job lined up because I was stationed in South Carolina. I was coming back home to the DMV area. Right, so coming back home, I've already let my parents know, or my mother know. I say parents, let my mother know that I'm coming back home. This is the day I'm going to be there. And she was like, yeah, for sure. She still lives in the exact same place. And she's like, yeah, for sure. Your bedroom's here, this and that, and the third. So yeah, you know, come on back home. Just let me know what date and time you're gonna be here, so I can make sure that I'm home. If not, I'll leave a key with your aunt. She lives, you know, down the way. You can get it from her before you come. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I already know where I'm gonna go when I leave base. I get in my car. I drive 6.5 hours, I believe, from South Carolina back to the DMV area, and I get home. I come in, I got my bags, my luggage, all of this stuff. I'm bringing all this stuff in, and I go into the bedroom. I start dropping my stuff off, and on the bed is a note, handwritten note from my mother. I picked this note up, and it says, "If you are going, I'm happy that you were able to come home in one piece. However, if you are going to live here, you're going to be expected to pay $500 a month in rent, on which will be due no later than the first of the month every month for the entire time that you're here." And I'm just thinking to myself, God damn, I ain't even getting the door real good. I ain't even finished unpacking, and you already got this shit sitting on my damn bed talking about paying rent, knowing damn well I ain't even got no job yet. I literally just got out the military yesterday. Or no, I'm sorry. Today was my last day. And midnight tonight will be my last day in the military. And I already got a note on the fucking bed talking about paying rent without me even having a damn job yet. I still don't even know how the fuck I'm gonna be paying my damn car note right now. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah, that's one of the things that I do. So I continue unpacking. I put all my stuff in my room, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, so clearly tomorrow being my first day here, I'm gonna have to go to the public library, and I'm gonna have to get on the internet and start like looking for jobs, start applying for jobs, start going around to different places, different malls and shopping centers, and asking for applications and stuff that I can do at the age of 22. Any of these things would have been acceptable for me, right? But after I did that for that first day, you get kind of bored, like driving around trying to find applications in all these different places, talking to these people. Maybe you spent time and gas to get to this place, and they're like, "Oh, we're not hiring." You know what I mean? So you get kind of bored with that. And I was like, okay, well, let me do something to kind of take my mind off of this particular situation. Let me go to the school. Let me go up to the school, go visit my old high school, and talk to some of the staff up there. Excuse me. So I go up to the high school the following morning, and when I come in, obviously now that I don't attend the school anymore, I don't have a school ID. I have to go to the main office, okay, which is right there in the front of the school. So I walk in, I got my driver's license, and they're like, "Hey, sir, how can I help you today?" And I was like, I'm just a former student. I'm up here to, visit, go talk to some of my old teachers. And she's like, okay, can I have your ID? I give her my ID. And, you got to give them your ID so that they can, I don't know how they do it, but they make some type of little sticker out of your ID for you to put on your chest that says visitor on it. So I give her my ID. And she's like, and which teachers are you here to visit? And I was like, so I'm gonna go see Mr. Black. Mr. Black was a Caucasian guy that was my art teacher. He was funny as hell, kind of like a hippie. Um, I don't know what Mr. Black's situation was, but I know a lot of times we would find him sleep in the back room where all his supplies was. So I don't know if Mr. Black was like low key homeless. I don't know what it was, but Mr. Black was definitely a character. Okay, so I was like, I'm gonna go see Mr. Black, um, and probably I'm gonna go see Mr. Boatman. When I said Mr. Boatman's name, young lady in the office, I say young lady, but she was probably like in her late 40s, early 50s. She looks up at me and she's like, Mr. Boatman? And I'm like, yeah, Mr. Boatman. He's the guidance counselor, peer mediator. At least he was when I was last here in 1999. Does he still work here? And she's like, yeah, hang on for 1 second. And I'm like, sure. So she gets up and she goes further into the office. I don't have a clue what the fuck is going on. Like, why is this in any way odd to her that I would be going to see the guidance counselor slash peer mediator? I thought it would be a common thing that people came back to the school to visit the guidance counselor, peer mediator, or whoever their favorite teacher or faculty of the school was. So she goes and she talks to someone else, and then she comes back and she was like, okay, sir, here's your ID, here is your visitor's pass. You just want to go ahead and keep that taped somewhere on the on your chest area, somewhere on your upper torso where it's always visible, so people who see it know that you are indeed a visitor and not a student in the school. And I hope you enjoy your stay. And I was like, all right, thank you. So, I took my ID back, put my thing on. I'm like, is this, a good place right here? She's like, that's perfect. So I leave out. Now, mind you, during this particular time, the hallways in the school, they were empty. Okay, all the students, they were in class, which is great for me because the last thing I want to do is be a 22-year-old walking through the hallways in a high school when there are 14 to 18-year-olds walking through them, and I start to look like I'm blending in with them. I don't want none of that. Like, I'm trying to be in, say what I need to say to who I need to say it to, catch up a little bit, and be the fuck out. All right. So I go up to Mr. Black's class first. Mr. Black has a class. I knock on the door. He opens it. He's like, "Oh, Rayhan, what's going on, man?" I'm like, "Man, what's going on with you, Mr. Black, man? I just wanted to come up here and rap to you. I just got home from the military, and I was coming up to the school to, holler at some of the teachers that I admired while I was here. You was one of the first people that came to mind. You know what I mean? So just wanted to say what's up." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah." He was like, I got this class going on right now. I'm trying to teach them this, but he's like, if you want to come back in about 45 minutes or so, they should be dismissed, and that'll be my free period, so we can catch up then." And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see if I can do that. I'm about to go holler at one other person right quick, and depending on how long that take, I'm gonna try to come back within that time frame that you gave me. He was like, cool. So I close Mr. Black's door, and I go around to Mr. Boatman's office. He's still in the same office. Okay, so I knock on the door. and he's got there was this, I remember, so his door is made out of like this sturdy wood, okay, like that. I want to say it's oak. It's whatever it is, it's sturdy and heavy. And he's got like maybe a 12 by 12 square in the upper portion center of the door, like a window. Okay, it's actually a little window, so you can see in or out of the office. Now he keeps this piece of construction paper over top of the door. So like if he's mediating with somebody or doing some type of guidance counseling, he pulls this piece of construction paper over the door. And he does that to make sure that, I guess there's privacy, because, students are going to be nosy. His office sits on a hallway where there's several other classrooms, there's lockers. So there's always students walking back and forth past, walking up and down this corridor of the hallway. And then it sits at an intersection of another corridor. So there's students always walking past, and all they're going to do is be walking past and looking in the window to see who's in there, who they might be talking to, so they can start rumors. I saw Rick in there, and Steve was in there, and if they was in Boatman's office, then they must got beef and all, shit like that. So he keeps the construction paper there to mitigate all of that right there. And the door's locked, you can't just walk in. Typically when the construction paper is down, it means don't knock, a meeting is in progress. So I knock, he had the construction paper down, and when I knock, he flips it up and he looks out, and I see his face kind of like, oh shit. So he opens the door real quick, and I'm like, what's up, Boatman? And he like, Rayhan, boy, what's going on, man? It's good to see you. How you been? I'm like, I'm home, buddy. Last day in the military was motherfucking 2 days ago. I'm back now, champ. That experience is done and it's over with. And then he was like, man, come on in here, man. Come on in here, man. Talk to me, man. You got to talk to me. You got to tell me how that was, man. Because last I talked to you, you know what I mean. You was pretty dead set on that's what you was gonna do. I know you seemed like you was having a little bit of doubts. So I want to hear. I need to know what the hell happened, man. I need to know how that experience worked out for you. So I come in, there was nobody in his office. I guess he had just forgotten to flip up the construction sheet. So I come in, I sit down, he and we start talking. And he's like, so yeah, what's so we know you just got out of the military. I'm like, man, before we get into that, man, let's get all the subtle stuff out the way. What's going on with you, man? And he was like, man, same old. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here, still guidance counselor, still peer mediator. These students in here still crazy, still got to help them with their problems. Some of them still be fighting and arguing over dumb stuff, same stuff. And he was like, yeah, that's all that's going on here, man. I still go around to the different events, take pictures, still make a good amount of money doing that, man. People still be paying to get their pictures back. Mind you, the year now was 2003, and smartphones still hadn't came on the scene just yet. They still hadn't. I don't think smartphones arrived. I think the first iPhone arrived somewhere around 2007, or 2006, 2007. So this is the year of now is 2003. Smartphones still aren't there. So his hustle is still booming. He's still going to the events, the proms, the pep rallies, the school dances, all of these different things, the games, the football games, all of that stuff, taking pictures, locking in these memories and selling these pictures to the students so that they can, like I said, put in their locker, give to their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be, right? So he's like, yeah, I still do all of that, still take the pictures, still be making a good amount of money doing that, man. I'm making a killing doing that, man. And he like, so yeah, that's what's up with me. But tell me, what was this military experience like? So I'm like, man, let me tell you something, bro. I went in that joint, man, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it was not fully what I expected it to be. If it was, I wouldn't be back. Clearly, I wouldn't have got out after 4 years. If it was everything that I needed it to be, I probably would have made a career out of it. But seeing as though I'm out at 4 years, you got to know it wasn't, all this and that and the other. He's like, oh, for real? He pulls up a chair and he like, so what makes you say that? Then I was like, man, for starters, the military is still very racist from what I'm gathering, bro. And they try to use systematic racism to target you. If they kind of figure that you're a little bit more stronger and rebellious than you need to be, like, you know what I mean? They're trying to find systematic ways to break you. They'll try to target you. They'll try to use military policy to make you look like a problem. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's insubordinate. They'll do all these different things, man. While I'm in the middle of talking, there's a knock at the door. Don't. Then he's like, hey, hold on. So he goes to the door. He looks out of the window, opens the door up, And all I hear is, yeah, man. Oh my God, man, Mr. Bowman, like shit, man. This is that, blah, blah, blah. No, that bitch getting on my motherfucking nerves and blah, 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 and this and that. And then he like, yeah, but man, girl, come on in here. What, you can't be doing all that in the hallway. So this girl comes walking in and she's like, yeah, man, nah, but I'm saying, man, she down here doing all this motherfucking faking and blah, blah, blah. Then she looks at me, right? And I'm kind of looking like, the fuck? And she's like, "Oh, my bad. I didn't know you had somebody in here. I can come back later." And he's like, "No, you good? He not a student. He just up here visiting. He used to go here, man. He just getting back. Me and him just catching up. But what is going on with you? Why you come barging in my office like that?" And she was like, "No, because man, this girl getting on my nerves, man. She keep talking about all this and that and other. She doing all this faking and da, all that." And in my mind, I'm just like, man, this little chick is ratchet and ghetto as a motherfucker, man. You know what I mean? But she was, just going, and it was like, I know whatever it was, it couldn't have been that serious or that important. I mean, this is fucking high school. You know what I mean? But she was adamant that what it was had her that upset. And he was like, yeah, look, I tell you what you about to do right now? You know what I mean? Do I need to ask him to step out so me and you can talk? She's like, nah, it's all good. I gotta go do this and that and other anyway. I can come back later on and we can talk and this and that and other, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? So as she starts to make her way out of the office, out of his office, mind you, I'm sitting at the table because he's got a table in the center of his office. Clearly, he's a pyramid head. He wants people to be able to sit at the table and look across from each other and this and that. So I'm sitting. If you come into his office and the table is in the center of the floor, I would have come into his office and I would have gone to the left to sit in a chair at the backmost of the table. He's standing at the backmost right side of the table. And she's about to exit the office, which means she's at the head of the table on her way out of the door, right? So I'm staring at her and he's staring at her, right? So she's like, "Oh, Bowman, that's right. That's what I meant to ask you for. You got them pictures, the pictures that you took the other day?" And then he was like, um, yeah, I got him. So he reaches into his little satchel bag that he carries with him. That's where he keeps his camera and all of his shit like that. He reaches into his satchel bag, and he's like, yeah, come on over here. So she walks up to him, and she gets like really next to him, like shoulder up against his arm, and he's like holding the pictures. He's kind of holding the pictures like this. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to shield me from seeing the pictures. And he's like, yeah, look, this one right here. You like that one? Like that one right there? Yeah, no, this one. I like this one right here. That's a good one right here. And she's like, okay, yeah, I like that. Them joints nice. Them joints nice. So how much can I get them joints for? What is it? Was it like $5 each for? And he's like, man, just let me just when you come back, you know what I mean? We talk about that when you get back. Let me know how many you want. And I make a deal for you. I make a deal for you so you can get, as many of them as you want or all of them for a reasonable price. Then she was like, okay. So mind you, while he was doing this talking, she had already made her way back to the front door. And she was about to open the door. Now, he's still holding the pictures in his left hand. Remember where I'm positioned in this room. I'm sitting on the leftmost side of the table when you come into his office. He's on the rightmost side. So he's looking towards the door, which means his right side is facing me. I'm looking at her and him. But his right side is facing me. He's holding the pictures in his left hand. And while he's talking to her and he's saying all of that, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just come on back through, man. Let me know what time you're gonna come through, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about all that when you get here. I cut a price. He's holding the pictures in this hand. The front of the pictures is outward. Okay, so while he's doing all of this talking with his hand, waving his hand around, I'm kind of looking at the pictures, like trying to follow him with his hand movements with my eyes, like you know what I mean. And I'm like, I couldn't really see all that well because these were 5x7s, and I was at least, I don't know, 4.5, 5 feet away from them. But I'm up here looking, trying to follow these pictures, and all I see is a lot of brown. And I'm like, what the fuck is that in this picture? Because it's a whole lot of fucking brown. This young lady who was going out of the door was brown skin. Same complexion brown that I'm seeing in these pictures, right? Madness. So I'm just staring at this shit. And again, I know she's in the pictures because she's asking for the pictures of herself, but I can't really make out what's in the pictures. I just know it's her because she's brown skinned and I see a lot of brown in the pictures, right? So he puts the pictures back in the satchel. She walks out of the office. We continue talking about my military experience, which I'm not going to go into detail in this video because this video will end up being way longer than I intend for it to be. But I started explaining to him, or continue to explain to him, the things that I had to endure in the military, again, which I talk about in graphic detail in a video entitled Why Black Men Should Not Join the Military. Okay, so if you want to know what I was talking to Mr. Boatman about, you want to watch that video. Literally everything I say in that video, I spoke to him about that particular day while I sat there in his office, right? So while we're talking, I think, man, probably about 45 minutes to an hour had gone past, because we was talking, like, he was asking me specific questions about this when I talked about specific things, and he was like thoroughly entertained by the story that I was telling him, right? About an hour later, a knock at the door. Don't, 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 don't. Comes again. He opens the door. This same little ratchet ass chick comes walking back in, and I'm thinking, damn, she literally just left, not realizing that an hour had passed. She comes walking back in. She's like, oh, he's still here. She's like, you want me to come back? Then he was like, nah, you good? Come on in, come on in. He's like, hey, Rayhan, man, can you step out for a second, man? Maybe like 15, 20 minutes, so I can, talk to her, get her straight with all of this stuff. Then I was like, yeah, cool. So I walk out. I go into the hallway. Mind you, I don't want to be in the fucking hallway in a high school as a 22-year-old guy, right? Even though the hallway is empty, all the students are in that class. You just look weird being the lone person in the hallway, even with a visitor's pass on. I always kind of want to always make sure that I'm in somebody's office, or classroom, at least talking to them. So I go out in the hallway. I don't have nowhere to go, so I just decide I'm gonna stand outside his office. I'm out there for all of, I don't know, maybe a couple minutes. Now, mind you, when I stepped out initially and he closed the door, his door locks. And then he flipped down the piece of construction paper that he usually has up, over the little 12 by 12 or whatever 8 by 8 window that he has in the center of his door. So I'm like, I'm just standing outside the door. Probably after about maybe three to 5 minutes, the young lady from the office who gave me my visitor's pass, okay, she ends up coming up the steps, from the other corridor and approaching his office. Now, mind you, there are cameras all over the hallway. They can see every corridor where there's classroom, where there's lockers. They can see everything, right? So clearly, I'm standing outside of his office. There's a camera that sits right here at this T intersection of these two corridors. So she comes walking up, and she was like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" She's like, "You were here to see Mr. Boatman, right?" And I was like, yeah. He's in here right now with a student. He asked me to step out so that, I guess they can have their little private conversation about whatever the hell was going on between them. So she walks up and she's like walking towards me, or towards his office, should I say, rather slowly. I'm standing next to the door, but she's walking up rather slowly. She walks up and she kind of comes up to the window where the construction paper was down, colored construction paper, and she looks. Clearly you can't see through the color construction paper. It's opaque. You can see that there's light on in the room, but you can't see who's in there or anything that's going on. So it was kind of weird to me that she like chose to look when she saw the piece of construction paper right there. Then she's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is interesting about it? He's a guidance counselor. That's what he does. I didn't say this to her, but I'm thinking, privacy, students arguing, all that kind of stuff. It makes sense to me. She goes back, she slowly walks back down and goes back, I assume, to the office. Probably about another 5 minutes later, Boatman opens the door. This particular student, she comes walking out, and he flips the piece of construction paper back up. So I go back in. He and I continue our conversation about the military, and all of that kind of stuff, and the things that I had to go through. And then it gets close to being the end of the day. So I'm letting Mr. Boatman know. I'm like, all right, look, it's been cool talking to you, you know what I'm saying? But I still got a couple other places that I need to go fill out a couple applications because I'm trying to get a job right fucking now. I came back home with absolutely no job lined up because I was stationed in South Carolina. You know what I mean? So I'm still out here doing that. So I got a couple places that I need to go talk to some managers, assistant managers, whatever, get some applications. And yeah, but I'll be back up here periodically to rap to you, to fill you in on what's going on, to see what's been up with you and all this and that and the other. Then he like, yeah, cool, man. I definitely would like that, man, because I gotta hear the rest of this story, man. All of this stuff you said you went through in the military, man, that's some crazy shit, man. I definitely gotta hear the rest of this story. So I'm like, yeah, for sure. So I leave. I go on about the rest of my business, which is stopping at these different places. I think I went to like a shoe store, a Kmart. I went to a couple places to get job applications to see what was up. So probably about a week passed. And after I had, filled out as many applications and gone to all the places that I could think of to go to fill out an application where I was going to be making decent enough money to pay this $500 rent that my mother wanted for this bedroom of mine, and to make my car payment and cell phone payment, to be able to, meet my basic needs. I'm just in the house and I'm bored. I'm like bored as hell, right? So I'm starting to think, what can I be doing while I'm waiting to hear back from these places that I've applied? Now, there are other people that I went to high school with that have also graduated. And the first thing that came to my mind, my man Damien, he lives, what, a half a mile away from me. I can walk to this guy's house. I can go see what's up with him. I'm just going to drive past there because I don't even got the dude number no more. I'm just going to drive past his house and see if his car's out there. I go past his house. Damien's car is out front. So I'm like, this looks like his car because his mother and father would not drive that particular car. They wouldn't have rims and 20s on their particular car. They are like fucking 60 years old. All right. So I'm like, that has to be his car. So I go knock on the door. Damien opens the door and he's like, Rayhan? Nigga. And I'm like, yeah, nigga, what's going on? And he's like, oh shit. He's like, man, I ain't seen you since 1999 and shit, bro. What the fuck going on? I'm like, bro, I went in the military, man. I just got back home last week and all of that's not enough. He's like, yeah, man, shit, come on in, man. Come on in. Like I said, Damien was a year behind me. So when I was a senior, he was a junior. Okay. So now that I was 23, Damien was no, now that I was 22, Damien was 21. Okay. Damien still lived at home with his parents because he has good parents. He has parents that understand. You don't fucking throw your children out at 18 and you don't fucking ask them to pay fucking rent when they don't have a fucking job. Okay. So anyway, Damien still lives at home with his parents. We go down to the basement of their townhouse, right? And in the basement, Damien has his couch set up, and he's got his little coffee table, and he's got a TV up there. He ain't doing shit but playing PlayStation. I think he was playing Madden at a particular time, and he was like, "Yo, I've been rapping and all of this shit, man. Listen to this little rap I made right here. How I put it on this beat and da 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 da." Man, I don't want to hear none of that shit, and I don't mean to sound negative, but I really don't have any affinity towards listening to rap coming off somebody's computer and stuff like that. If it's not like engineered properly and all of that mess, I don't be wanting to hear that shit. So I'm kind of listening while he playing this shit. I'm not vibing with none of it. He's got a lot of little cat in the hat style rapping and all of that shit. Really don't mean nothing to me, right? Um, the phone rings and Damien picks up the phone and he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And I don't know who's on the other end, but he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm in here. I'm down in the basement with one of my mans." Yeah, 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 come, yeah, so yeah, just come on over this joint, just knock on the door or whatever, and I'll let you in. So he hangs up the phone. No, ain't none of my business. Like I said, I don't know. So he continues playing man. Doorbell goes off. So he's like, hold on right quick, let me go up there. That's my man from across the street. So he goes and he opens the door. He lets his friend in. His friend is his next door neighbor, some little young guy that's like, I think this guy's like 16 years old. I don't remember. I think his name was Tony or Antonio or something like that. He lets Antonio in. Okay. Antonio lives directly across the street from him. Okay. So clearly they play video games together, talk and all of that shit. They do that quite often because they live right across the street from each other. Antonio comes down, 16 years old. Antonio still goes to the particular high school that me and Damien both graduated from. So we in that joint, and me and Damien are talking. Antonio's trying to find ways into our conversation, which is weird to me because I don't really know you. You don't really know me. Like, I know he knows Damien pretty well, but we're talking, and then he's like, "Yeah, so what you been up to since been out from the military?" And Tony's like, "Man, you was in the military? Oh man, you gotta tell me about that, man. What was that like, man? Because I was thinking about that. I go to ROTC and all of this kind of mess. I was thinking about joining the military." And I was like, man, bro, that's a long, long conversation, man. If I talk to you, I tell you what, I would say you got to go find out for yourself, bro. Because I don't want to tell you what my experience was in an attempt to ruin what your experience may be. Because for me, I didn't really fuck with it like that. But for you, I mean, you might be a different kind of person. You might thrive in that joint. So I really don't want to share my experiences with the intentions of deterring you from doing what you always wanted to do. So I would say if you want to do it, you should do that joint. So I was like, yeah, but outside of that, man, just filling out applications. I was like, man, I went up to the school last week to catch up with some people. I talked to Mr. Black. You remember him? And he was like, you talking about the art teacher that's always sleeping in his classroom, sleeping in his supply room in the back of the classroom? I'm like, yeah, I went to holler at him, and I went to holler at Mr. Boatman. And then he looked at me, the same look that the lady in the office who was giving me my visitor's pass, he gave me that same look. And I was like, the fuck? He's like, Mr. Boatman. And I'm like, yeah. Then he was like, shh, you don't know? And I'm like, no, what? And I looked at Antonio. Antonio was already had this grin on his face. He like, man, not that nigga Boatman, Slim. You went up there to see Mr. Boatman? And I'm like, what the fuck? Is it something that I should know? They like, oh, you don't know? I'm like, okay, what, nigga? Apparently, what took place was the pictures that Mr. Boatman had been taking. One of the young ladies, I don't know if it was the young lady who came into the office that particular day or not, but one of the young ladies, because there were multiple young ladies that he was, taking pictures of. These pictures were uh these girls were nude in these pictures. Okay. There was no sexual acts taking place in the pictures, but these girls were nude in these pictures. Okay. One of the girls had given a picture to her boyfriend, or I think all of them were doing that. They wanted these pictures so they can give them to their boyfriend. Remember, there were no smartphones. There was no sexting, is what they called it. There was no sexting that could take place at this time. Okay. So the only way that these children could get these pictures of themselves in this type of imagery was if somebody took these pictures for them and then had them developed. Okay. So one of these young ladies had leftover pictures in their room, and her mother came into the room doing some regular cleaning or looking for whatever it was that she was looking for, stumbled upon these pictures. She confronted her daughter and she asked her daughter, where the fuck did this picture come from? Who took a nude photo or nude photos of you? She lied to her mother, and she told her mother that her boyfriend had taken the pictures. Her mother says, okay, well, I know him. Well, I know his parent. I'm going to call his parent and I'm going to figure out why the fuck he's taking nude photos of my daughter. Okay. This only buys this little girl some time. Mother goes to her phone. She calls to get in contact with her daughter's boyfriend's parents to inquire about why he's taking nude photographs of her daughter. They talk to him and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't take any nude pictures of your daughter. I mean, yeah, she did give me a nude photo of herself, but I'm not the one who took those pictures. Mother goes back to her daughter. I just spoke to your boyfriend and his parents, and he says that it wasn't him. He says that you gave him one of these pictures, but he's not the person who took them. So I'm going to ask your motherfucking ass again. And if you lie to me, I'm going to beat the shit out of you in this house. Who took these pictures of you? The girl caves and she tells her that somebody at the school took the pictures by the name of Mr. Boatman. Mother's heart drops to the floor. Now the mother needs to understand how this whole thing took place, because I don't send you to school for this type of stuff. These type of people shouldn't even work in the school where you go, because the school is required to do certain type of checks on people before they employ them to prevent these type of problems. What do you think the mother does? She takes off to the school. Very next morning, she's at the school in the office and she's confronting the principal, the assistant principal, and everybody who's staff in the office. My daughter attends this school. Her name is XYZ. My daughter had photos, nude photos of herself in her room that I discovered, and she informed me that somebody who's staff in this school by the name of Mr. Boatman took these pictures of her. I need to know where this particular person is and what the fuck y'all are going to do about it before I sue this particular school and bring charges against this person. Y'all have one opportunity to do an investigation and take the appropriate action before I do what I need to do. And I'm letting you know now, a part of what I'm going to do is going to be reaching out to law enforcement so they can figure out how they're going to how they're going to deal with this particular situation. Storms out of the office. She calls the police and lets the police know that she wants to report an incident of uh I think it's called like lewd conduct with a minor or something to that effect. Whatever it is, right? So she calls the police. She lets the police know what the issue is. She shows the police the pictures, and she tells the police officers that she had already gone to the school and she had spoke to the principal, the assistant principal, all the staff in the office about the issue, and told them that they need to conduct an investigation. The police officers go to the school. When they get to the school, they go to the office and they report to the principal. And the principal's like, yes, we did receive these pictures, nude pictures of one of the children or that went to this school. They allege that it was one of the staff here at the school. We're conducting an independent investigation so that we can have findings, and we'll report our findings to you because we want to cooperate with law enforcement so you guys can do what's necessary in the event that you need to do anything at all. Okay. Now, once this takes place, this investigation begins. And now it makes perfect sense to me why the young lady from the office who gave me my pass came creeping up and looking into Boatman's office when I was standing out in the hallway looking like a fucking bump on a log. She was conducting an investigation. All right. Now, remember, the school has cameras on every corridor, CCTV, so they can see all of this mess. So while they're doing the investigation, which involves looking through all the camera footage during the time period that they collected from, the child or children that were all involved in this particular thing, they're looking through CCTVs. They're documenting all of this stuff. They're pulling that footage out, and this is an extensive investigation, far more extensive than I could have ever imagined. So while they're getting all of this stuff together, a couple of days goes past. The principal calls for a meeting with Mr. Bolton to come down to the principal's office. He comes to the principal's office, and the principal explains to him, "Hey, look, I'm gonna be very blunt with you. We received some disturbing news and some evidence that you've been engaging in some unacceptable behavior here with some of the minors here at the school. And there is an investigation that is presently being conducted. Right now, it's an independent investigation, but we are cooperating with local law enforcement. So if there's anything that you want to add or that you want to say to kind of clear or help this investigation along, we would definitely appreciate it. Because like I said, right now it's not 100% definitive, but we're getting close to reaching a conclusion, and we want to give you the opportunity to say whatever you need to say before we make our ruling decision on the matter." Right? Mr. Boatman decides that he doesn't want to say anything because he still, in his mind, has doubts that um, when this investigation concludes, it's going to be as bad as it's going to be. Mr. Boatman leaves school that day and he goes home. Now, Mr. Boatman is married. He has children. He has grandchildren. He leaves school that particular day and he goes home to his family, trying to figure out what he should do. And this is a difficult decision for him because he can't talk to his family about this behavior that he engaged in. Clearly, he was in the wrong for it. He's older and more responsible, and clearly, that you're not even supposed to be engaging in this behavior, not only as staff of the school, but for somebody of your age dealing with somebody or minors in that particular age range. You're wrong all the way around, right? Um, he doesn't talk to his wife about it. He doesn't know how. Can't tell his children about it, right? He doesn't know what to do. But he does know that if this investigation concludes, he's going to lose his job. And even worse, he may go to jail. And you guys know that in these penitentiaries, these inmates, if it's one thing that they can't stand, they cannot stand men who take advantage of minor children. Okay, whether it be an essay of some kind, whether it be photographs, it doesn't matter what it is. If you are taking advantage of a minor, these inmates can't stand that, and they're going to make your life a living hell in prison. Now he's considering all of these things, and he can't quite bring himself to tell his wife. Okay. The next morning, Boatman wakes up. He gets himself dressed and goes through his normal routine, everything that he would normally do, um, every single day that he goes to work. Gets in his car and he drives to work. Now, for those of you that don't know, some of you viewing this video, you may have gone to Potomac. Potomac is in Oxon Hill, Maryland. Okay. Now, this high school sits at the bottom of two particular hills. It's behind an area called Southview Apartments. Okay. Now, the school itself sits at the bottom of two hills that come together, and the pool and the school kind of sits in like the little pit at the bottom of the school. One of these streets being Bodell Avenue. Okay. Boatman drives into school, comes down the hill, and he goes through the initial gate into the school. And clearly, you see buses that are unloading students. You see students that are outside the school walking around socializing. You see is a police vehicle that's always there to monitor the activity of the students and make sure that everybody gets into the school safely, that there's no violence following them to the grounds of the school, because this is considered a safe haven, right? But when Boatman comes in, right before he turns into the staff parking lot, he also notices that there are several other local law enforcement vehicles at the front of the school, which is highly unusual. Okay. He pulls into the staff parking lot and he parks his car, and he's just thinking, I know when I get out of this car, these are going to be the last steps I take being an employee of this school, and quite possibly the last steps that I take being a free man. Because if they got that many law enforcement vehicles at the front of the school, the only reason they can be here is for me. This means that their investigation must be done, and they found whatever it is that they need to find, that I absolutely did do, and they're trying to, today's the day. Okay. So he's sitting in his car and he's contemplating, am I just going to turn the engine back on and drive back home and explain to my wife that, I quit my job today, or I lost my job today? Or am I going to get out of this car and walk to the front of the school and accept the fate that I'm about to be terminated and more than likely arrested with criminal charges? And after some time sitting in the driver's seat of his car contemplating the two options that he had, Mr. Boatman decided on the third option. Mr. Boatman turned into his satchel bag that he keeps his pictures, his camera equipment, and important documents in, and he reached inside of it and he pulls out a 38 caliber revolver, takes a deep breath, sticks the barrel of that gun in his mouth, squeezes the trigger, and unalives himself on school grounds in the staff parking lot. The sound of the gunshot going off sends everybody into a panic. Now police officers are coming out, forcing all of the students to come inside of the school so that they can put the school on lockdown. Now they're investigating an active shooter. They have to figure out where the gunshots came from, who's shooting at whom, and we need to, more importantly, make sure all these children are safe, that nobody is injured. Okay. The law enforcement officers that are there, and more law enforcement officers come flooding the school because of the gunshot and how close it was. And they start doing a perimeter sweep. They're checking the insides of the school. They're checking the outsides of the school. They're trying to figure out where this gunshot came from. Within an hour, they come across the faculty parking lot. And that's where they find Mr. Boatman's vehicle, with Mr. Boatman in the driver's seat with his head, or what's left of it, slumped over against the window. When they find Mr. Boatman in this condition, they call EMS. EMS arrives onto the scene, and EMS pronounces Mr. Boatman dead at the scene, unalived at the scene, immediately. Now, this investigation has concluded. Ultimately, what was going to happen was Mr. Boatman was about to be arrested, and he was about to be taken to jail and be held there until his trial, where he was ultimately going to be found guilty of whatever the charges are. I don't know what they particularly are, but I know one of them is something like lewd conduct with a minor or something like that. Maybe it probably would have been something involving the P word, that rhymes with like pornography. Maybe there was going to be something like that attached to it. Anyway, he was definitely going to be sentenced. He was going to become a registered sex offender, and instead of doing any of those things. He chose to unalive himself to avoid the embarrassment that he would have no doubtedly had to have faced from his family, his wife, his children, grandchildren, and that was the decision that he made. Um, and I chose to tell this video today. It actually ran a lot longer than I anticipated it would, but I chose to tell this particular video today because over the last couple of years there have been rumors about these particular files, and you guys know the files that I'm talking about that were recently released and made public, um, that expose a lot of different entertainers and celebrities and politicians and rich people throughout the country. In those particular files, when they came out, those files also released some video footage that has surfaced. I saw I guess it's a 3-minute video. I saw maybe the first 15, 20 seconds of it. I couldn't watch any more of it. There was a video released entitled SKIPPY. Okay. And that video is entitled Skippy. And in that video, you see some very disturbing things taking place in that video. You see a minor child and an adult male uh, like engaging in some rather crazy shit with this child. And in the video, this child is like screaming like at the top of their lungs, I'm a child, I'm a child, no, don't do this. And he's fucking saying shit like, you will call me your father or some shit like that. And she's like, no, no, SKIPPY. Like, the shit is disturbing. I didn't know what I was watching when it came on, because it was like portions of it on TikTok. I'm like, what is this? And I'm listening to the creator describe what it is. I'm like, I'm not watching this shit. I can't fucking watch this shit. There's no fucking way. I have children. I have a daughter that is somewhere in the age bracket of the little girl in this video, so I couldn't bring myself to watch it. Not that Mr. Boatman was doing anything as bad as what took place in that particular video, to my knowledge. But when that video released, it did immediately remind me of this particular story that I decided to tell, to raise awareness to you parents out there, to make sure that you are heavily, heavily involved in your children's life, especially when they're teenagers, during the years where they are the most impressionable. You want to always be engaging your children, talking to your children, figure out what's going on, letting them know that they can trust you and that they can talk to you about anything, so that they are not going to school and talking to staff of the school about things that you don't know about, engaging in things with people at the school that you don't know about. Had that been the case, and I'm not saying it wasn't, but had that been the case for sure, I doubt very seriously that this young lady, or not even this young lady, these young ladies, because it was multiple young girls in the school that were engaging in this behavior. Had that been the case, then I doubt very seriously that these pictures would have ever been taken, that this issue would have ever been that would have ever taken place. So yeah, again, some faculty at the school, they are not who they appear to be. Now, I don't particularly know. Maybe this young lady asked Mr. Boatman to take these pictures. Maybe she was paying him for this nude photo shoot so she can have these pictures of herself to do whatever she was planning on doing with them. But that is all beside the point. Mr. Boatman, being a man who was in his late 50s, early 60s, should have known better. There was no way that that was supposed to be acceptable, and you were supposed to risk your life, your liberty, your freedom, your employment, um, for that little old 5, 10, 25, $35, whatever you were going to get from her for each one of those 5x7s that you took. So yeah, again, this video is simply to raise awareness. Stay close to your kids. Make sure you're engaged and make sure you're active in their life and you know everything that is going on, so that they do not fall victim to somebody like Mr. Boatman. For those of you that wanted to view the news article, I will pin it in the comment section in my pinned comment, for those of you that want to read up on this particular story a little bit more. And that's all I have for you on this particular story time video. I know it was a little dark, and it ran a little bit longer than I anticipated, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Do remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I do offer a channel membership. The link for that can be found in the description section. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this rainy ass morning. And I hope this rain is not ruining the audio of the video. But as always, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.